There it is. There it is.
You kind of
Gotcha.
from everybody up there.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because I knew the red light had to be there.
Thanks for giving me a reason to get up there. Left my note.
There you go.
Is it on?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't show on mine. It
Uh-oh.
shows nobody in here.
I forced it.
Okay, so we might have to,
It's on the camera though.
okay, so we'll have to do it manually probably.
Last week, we also had some audio sound problems. We didn't get some of the audio out on some of the meeting last week.
No, but
Oh, somebody's commented. Okay, are we ready?
yes, we're ready.
I haven't heard that lady said talk yet.
No,
What's
I gotta
wrong?
start it.
I told Tina not to worry, we'd fumble through it somehow.
This conference will now be recorded.
Let's start off by the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You guys' mics on?
I don't think so.
Okay. Pass that one down, guys. I've got two of them down here, with my name on them.
Tina says she can hear fine,
Oh, good.
so. Okay, are you ready?
Yes,
Public forum first.
have to do the public forum. Anybody want to say anything? Can't read it from here. Chat box.
The South user said you have no audio. Tina says I can hear fine. South user says I can too, now that someone turned on the mic.
We know public forum, or go ahead and do business. Because of change orders, you said.
Yep, I'll get you.
Agenda change.
We do agenda
Okay.
items.
You want to approve or delete anything from the agenda?
Yeah, 215 Rural Water District wants to reschedule for next Monday.
And at 1 o'clock, Lloyd Davies for not.
Whatever time we give them.
Okay.
And add a Board of Public Health under the time set aside for
Health Department.
Health Department. So we'd have to recess
Yes.
and reconvene as the Board of Health. And under Road and Bridge, a executive session for property acquisition. That's all I got.
Okay. Anything else? You made that in the motion?
No, they just changes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4. Can you hear Dave Miller or see him
Hi.
or? Okay.
There we hear you, Dave.
Was that a high or an aye?
So who motioned it?
Dave?
Dave?
Yeah.
Randy second.
Second.
And then. I didn't hear any of it. I can see it all.
Is it 5-0?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You ready?
I think so.
Okay. First off, we have a salary sheet.
A salary sheet for Megan Chesky. is a rehire of 911 dispatch at $15.67 an hour.
Keep that pen.
But,
It makes you stand out. Pretty important.
it's got my blue one.
We do have some early checks. The total of the early checks is $38,862.42.
Good, make a motion. Make a motion that we pay $38,862.42.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
That was for, you might want to stay with that.
Yeah. Trying to get to it.
The
Kind of at the end of the packet.
pictures, international, is that for
Pictometry.
the flag
Yeah, that's a,
For the appraiser.
placer? So,
that's an annual payment
Mhm.
for, was that 3-year contract?
Yeah, I believe
I think
it's
so.
every 3 years.
I think that's what,
Yeah.
you remember, I thought it was 3.
and that is for $36,469.67.
And then we also have the appraisers for their printer lease
The health.
and the health department.
That's on the backside.
For the vaccine.
I'll make a motion to pay the $692.90 for, health department printer lease.
Well, we already approved the whole thing.
Oh, we did it all in
Yeah,
one? I thought we were
yeah.
just doing the one.
No, we
Okay.
did the whole 38.
Okay.
For the others.
The other one was
also
for,
Appraisers for vaccine,
Yeah.
for the health department,
Yeah.
$1,699.85.
is that flu vaccine?
Is it Sanofi passed order?
Yes.
Yes, for both.
Looks so light, you can throw it now.
I know.
Kent's gonna have to.
Okay, we have the minutes of January 10.
Do you have any additions or corrections for the January 10th minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the January 10th minutes as written.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? 5-0.
We'll have to reprint that. Since we didn't either.
Just cross it out.
We'll reprint that so that you can
Okay.
sign it. Okay. We have some change orders.
Good thing.
There's a lot of.
Yeah, that's what they're all doing.
Going that well in a long time. Archer. And the transfer.
We're not gonna have no tax money in the oil fields. Really helpful.
Yep.
That's why I ain't sinking.
Who's
Might not make enough to ask for an exemption. You gotta make some money first.
Wonder if you have to show what comes out of ground in order to qualify for this.
It's basically probably past sales.
Past sales?
Yeah, so. And you could calculate that by days in between sales.
Mhm.
Okay, any more?
This folder.
That's your fault.
I think she's got another ready.
Keep pulling that.
Last one?
Yeah.
That's it, coming back.
Okay, the last thing I have is I have a new amended pay application for the EMS station in Hillsborough. I just need it approved. You approved one last week and it had the wrong payment due on it. And so this is an amended one.
Is it more or less than last week?
Less.
Less? I make a motion that we
I'll second.
approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? 5-0.
Did you second? Who seconded?
Can't
Ken.
Okay, and that's all I have.
Okay, we'll make a motion to enter into the public health meeting. I move that we recess the regular meeting and convene at the Board of Public Health.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Second by Randy.
Okay.
Microphone shut.
Yeah, that's all.
Are the mics on?
I don't think so.
Mine's not.
Krista, I'm gonna go over
You
there. and I'll-
can catch this one, Kristen.
Okay.
That way, they should hear you.
They don't work.
Well, it's
Yeah, I couldn't tell with
a
the
dial or something. Well, which dial?
Go ahead.
I don't know if all of you have heard or not, KDHE has made some changes in the last week, 2 weeks, kind of fluid situation, changing their isolation quarantine recommendations. And so that's posed a lot of questions for schools, for daycares, for the general population. And so what I am proposing, I'm gonna go ahead and pass this out to everyone. I guess if you just wanna take one and pass it down.
Okay.
Is to make things a little bit easier for those entities and for everyone to have a public health order, just stating that we follow the guidelines that KDHE has set forth. Like anything that's happened with the pandemic, they're probably going to change, but that's kind of a blanket statement. So, I've been in contact with Brad Jantz and Tina to help get that written up. So these new guidance, I don't know if anyone has any questions. The first page deals with healthcare isolation and quarantine. The second page is general population isolation and quarantine. That also applies to K through 12 schools. And there are a lot of layers to this. So attached is the FAQ for that from KDHE. defines those things in it.
This just mirror CDC?
Yes, I think KDG has a few tweaks to it. That's been their goal, is to get toward moving toward what CDC says, just so everything's a consistent statement. We're continuing to see our testing surge, our numbers are surging at a rapid pace.
I couldn't find, but the, I see CDC's 10 days recommendation, is that what they're quarantine?
So it depends on the person's situation.
Okay.
So isolation and quarantine are two different things.
Okay.
Isolation refers to someone who has tested positive for COVID-19, and quarantine is someone who is a close contact of the person who tested positive, or would put them into quarantine.
I just see some difference between the 14 and 10s as I read through it.
Randy, which?
That's on page, well, the third page here.
Okay.
Current guidance for isolation, quarantine, and general public. Your symptoms during, if you have no symptoms during 10 days, you can be released from quarantine without a test if they allow. That's, I think that's CDC. But yeah, KDHE recommends 14 days to self-monitor.
Yeah, self-monitoring for symptoms, so you don't have to remain in a quarantine.
Right. Okay.
But
Does this help with the school issue too?
this would kind of take off some of that pressure off of schools, that if we have a public order in place, then it's not just the school saying you have to do this. I mean, we actually have a public order. I think, there's been question of liability through the school systems about giving out medical advice, and I've been in contact with Dr. Hudson also. He said that he is in support of moving forward with this proposed order, and I'll go ahead and pass that out as well.
Just one page.
There's 2 pages.
Outside.
And go over the second page, just for people online or general public.
Okay. So the KDHE guidance for isolation and quarantine has different sections to it. So there's a section, anyone that, regardless of vaccination status, that has a lab confirmed or probable case, so that's someone who's tested positive via antigen or PCR test, that they are to stay at home for at least 5 days, and isolate from others in your home if possible, wear a well-fitting mask if you have to be around others in your home, and that's only if that's applicable to your situation. After 5 days, 5 full days in isolation, you may wear a well-fitted mask indoors and outdoors when around others for an additional 5 days. Do not go places where you cannot wear a mask. And if you are unable to wear a mask, to stay home for 10 days and isolate from others in your home. So in order to end the isolation, you would end isolation after 5 full days only if you're fever-free for 24 hours, without the use of fever-reducing medication, and your symptoms have to be significantly improved. If you do not have any symptoms, you can end isolation after at least 5 full days after your positive test, but then you still have to mask for the 5 additional days. Reason being for that is KDG has told us that 30% of those cases are still infectious after the 5-day mark. So. And then if you're severely ill with COVID, you end isolation after at least 10 days and up to 20 days. So those type of scenarios are for people who are immunocompromised. If they had an ICU admission, then they go longer. So essentially, if you're sick, you're still in isolation. You have to be better in order to come out. And you're also to avoid travel and avoid being around people who are at high risk for developing severe disease. So the second bullet on here is for people who are fully vaccinated with Pfizer or Moderna over 5 months ago and no booster, people who are fully vaccinated with Johnson & Johnson over 2 months ago and no booster, and people who are unvaccinated. So now KDG lumps those groupings together if they've not received a booster or they're outside of the 5-month range. So those people are to quarantine, stay at home and quarantine for at least 5 full days. Wear a well-fitted mask, or if you must be around others in your home, that's applicable. In situations where people have children or small children, that may not be a situation that warrants that. After 5 full days of quarantine, wear a well-fitted mask indoors and outdoors when around others for additional 5 days. Do not go places where you cannot wear a mask. If you're unable to mask, stay home for 10 days and quarantine from others in your home. Get tested. So they want people who are in quarantine to get tested. Even if you don't develop symptoms, it is recommended that you test at least 5 days after you have close contact with someone with COVID-19. After you're at home quarantine, they still want you to watch for symptoms at least until 10 days after you have last had close contact with someone that tested positive for COVID-19. If you develop symptoms, you should isolate immediately and get tested. Continue to stay home until you know the results, and wear a well-fitted mask around others.
You need to find a well-fitted mask.
Yeah.
I have never seen one yet, except for an N95 that is form-fitted. So
Yeah.
does that mean it has to be an N95
No, it
form-fitted?
does not. So
They stop short of saying.
well-fitted mask, just an example of that would be a mask that's falling below your nose, that's that you're wearing appropriately, so you couldn't wear the well-fitted mask on your chin and consider that being well-fitted. The third section is for people who are fully vaccinated and boosted, people who are fully vaccinated with Pfizer or Moderna within the last 5 months, people who are fully vaccinated with Johnson & Johnson within the last 2 months, and people who have confirmed COVID-19 infection within the last 90 days. Reason being that they changed it to 90 days is because we are seeing people who had just recently had the Delta variant and then come up positive, which is presumed to be Omicron variant. So those people do not need to quarantine unless they develop symptoms. It is recommended that they get tested at least 5 days after their last close contact with someone who had COVID-19 and continue to watch for symptoms until 10 days. So the K through 12 guidance falls underneath the general population as of now.
Krista, would you say that anybody that's, I see the 5 months deal here showing up quite a bit, that if your vaccinations was over 5 months ago, they're just a done deal? I mean, probably won't help you do anything the rest of your life, or is that?
So they're wanting people to be boosted. If
Yeah.
their vaccinations are over 5 months, to be boosted. We don't know about further boosters,
Okay.
if that's in the works or not. The message that we can say without a doubt is vaccines are still preventing against severe illness, hospitalization, and death. And we see the cases that do come in of hospitalizations. It's generally unvaccinated people.
So the reason for issuing a new emergency order is, did our other one have a end date on it?
I think it was,
I don't know.
they're dropping at the state level. They're dropping.
Before it was a
something.
10-day, I don't know where they're at with the orders, but before isolation and quarantine guidance. So this has lessened it, with a push to get people back into their jobs, kids to get back into schools, so they're not missing quite as much, as long as they can mask and come back for that 5 additional days.
Last year, we voted to keep the health order on, at some time through last year.
Yeah, I just was wondering why we issue a new emergency order when we had one, and what the difference is.
Yeah.
The guidelines have changed.
Yeah,
No, that's
we're
probably
dropping-
what you was talking about.
For the
Yeah,
most
but-
part, everything's dropping to 5 days with 5 additional days of masking instead of 10 days.
And
So it's changing.
yeah, reason being that we're changing the order to kind of indicate that it's more of a blanket statement,
Okay.
because these are bound to change again over time. And then that way we're not meeting again to change the order.
I'll be ready for the day when they say just stay home when you're sick. That's all the more there is to it.
We're supposed to.
Right.
Now, I know that the guidelines have made it so confusing for people that I think some of them just maybe aren't, it's not hard to follow. It's hard to follow them. All I hear on the street is 5 days. That's what I hear on the street.
That's what I hear from everybody.
You can have some infectious people out on the street, I guess.
It's true. So unless people have a willingness to participate and do what's set forth, then you're gonna continue that transmission.
Does anybody have any questions, any more questions? Health order?
I think we'll just kind of abide by the state's rules.
Yes.
We have to vote on an emergency, new emergency order.
Hear a motion?
I'd make a motion to pass the emergency order, local health officer is giving out public health order 2022-1.
I hear a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Pass 5-0. Becomes effective immediately.
I also have a resolution order that Tina has sent over. So another proposed is to implement these guidelines for county employees.
Make this as a motion.
This, it's gotta be back in the commission.
Yeah, this would be another
Okay.
commission meeting. In this order, Krista, is there, I don't see nothing that says we got to mask up or anything to that effect. Correct?
It says that the public health order 22-01 is implemented for residents of Marion County as well as employees of Marion County governmental and organization and other employees housed within the county facilities. So that would put it back onto the isolation and quarantine, this document, whatever is
This
current.
doesn't mean we're implementing a mask mandate.
It does not. Now, if you are in quarantine, this is stating that you should follow those guidelines. So if you're out on day 5 and you were in for isolation for a positive test, this is stating that either you stay in the 10 full days or you can come out and wear the mask for the additional 5 while you're still infectious. But not that you have to wear it at all times or anything of that nature.
Well, I'd have to agree with this one. That's what I'm seeing with kids under 8 years old. I know of 2 families that over the last 4 days, it's 2 different sets that's had 2 kids down for at least 24 hours, vomiting, stuff like that. Don't know what, if it's any more than just some sort of flu or what it is, but that's down to Peabody.
Do you have any other business with public health?
I do not.
Make a motion that we return to the regular meeting.
Is this part, is this all one?
The last one was the Board of Health, the actual resolution will be part
Be
of
under the commission?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead,
I have to say.
We move to adjourn the meeting of public health and reconvene as the county commission meeting. Randy seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those against?
I heard a scratching noise, but maybe it didn't chime in.
It was a yes.
Couldn't find the button. Okay, we want to reconvene the Marion County Commission meeting.
Resolution number would be 6-5.
Resolution 2022-5, implementing emergency orders for the Public Health Office and establish COVID-19 isolation and quarantine guidelines for Marion County.
Motion to approve, is that what that was?
That's what the resolution was. I'll
Someone needs to make a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? So 5-0.
Sign one.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you, Kristen.
Yep. Actually, you need to sign.
Concludes the business with the health department. Next up is Vicki Hofer and Dan Drive discussion.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
Yeah. I'll get her.
Well, nice to meet you. Hey, hi.
How you doing?
Yeah, thank you.
Vicki?
Good to meet you.
You're up. Come on in. Who? No, no, he's not coming. If you're gonna do the speaking, Vicki, we'll let you have it.
Okay,
You can sit with me.
just sit here. I just let him talk.
Okay, we have Vicki Hofer.
Okay,
You have the floor.
okay. The reason I'm here is I'm asking the commission to hopefully construct Dan Drive there at the Marion County Lake. I've lived there since 1984, 38 years, and since then, it has always been a public road. People have driven down my property that whole length of time, which we've let them. Haven't wanted to stop the traffic, but over the years, there's gotten to be more and more. They go quite fast through there, which is unsafe. It tears up my private driveway. And as of 4 years ago, I have 2 little grandsons, which is number 1 on my list, 4 and 5, that play in my private property. And I think they should be able to do that without worry of somebody flying down that road all hours of the day, which we've seen it year after year. And I think they should be able to do that. And I don't think, I'm paying taxes on that private property. I have ever since I've lived there, but it's being used for public use. And I really don't think that's quite right. After this length of time, I'm tired of having that done, but my grandsons are number 1. Because the way people travel through there, something very bad could happen. And I don't think I should constantly have to be telling them to stay off that road when it's my road.
Vicki, do you have a copy of a survey? Property? I
Yeah,
just
we've
wondered
got
if
it
you
marked.
do- I know, but
Yes.
you've had that done, it's been recorded?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so we could probably go over here and get a copy of that
Mhm.
from there.
I would have brought it if I would have known.
Okay, that's all right.
You
I
would've
just
needed it.
want to make sure that, we want to see the bounds, unless do you have it, Bryce?
Well, I was gonna let them
Okay,
go ahead with their stuff, and then I
Okay.
could talk about some of that stuff,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, we have found the pins,
okay,
and so we have marked those, so if you drive out there, you'll be able to see them.
good, good deal.
Mhm. And we've marked that.
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it, so that's why.
Yeah, you've heard
that's why-
about it, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just very concerned about my grandsons
Wow.
out there. And they've got little motorbikes now, and they're, ripping her up and down the road, which they should be able to.
I don't remember exactly what we did the last time we talked about this. Another neighbor was in the other day and said that we was gonna do something, so I don't remember did you want the property completely closed off to where there is no road, or?
I am not for that.
Okay,
That is not what I'm here for.
okay, okay.
My other neighbors would have to speak to that, but I know they are concerned the way people go by their place. My concern is the public access on my private driveway.
Your private yard, you want to keep private,
Yes, that's right, Dave.
because the road's now part of the yard is your road.
Right, right. And I would rather see a road come in so people can cut through rather than going out and putting a gate up and just keeping people, because then I don't know what they'll do. But I am at that point.
Is there a need for police and fire to use that?
Well, I guess, I don't know, do you have anything else, Vicki? I don't want to.
No, yeah.
Okay. Based on what, it was like 2 years or so, we've talked about this. I think where the issue is coming from is that we have a miscommunication or whatever else in data. I checked with the Register of Deeds, and according to the plat for that area, Dan Drive stops at the west side of your property. Is that west, northwest, whatever else?
Mhm.
It stops up there. But this information that comes from RS Digital Service, which I guess they've got from downstairs, shows Dan Drive continuing down to Lakeshore Drive with a 33-foot right-of-way easement. So, with that being said, if it's not platted according to them, then it's not recorded, it's not official road. So where this information came from at 33 feet, all the way from up there down there, I don't know. Like I said, it's not recorded. They were very, very familiar with it. They've looked into it before. Second of all, the idea of if the county does want to make it a road or to finish Dan Drive, it would basically go farther south and cross that channel there on the south side of her, well, it's actually part of her property, that would cross that channel. Now, the two issues with that channel, it's a very, very strange angle to try to do anything with it, because it would, the drainage way is almost parallel with what the road would be. So in order for us to put any kind of a drainage structure in there, it would be really, really interesting. Second of all, I don't know where the stuff came from, but there's a whole big pile of concrete slabs in there, like sidewalk or slabs or whatever else has been dumped in there about where that would be. So anyway, if you guys want to look these over, this is the information that I've had. Kind of gives you an idea. They're all different pictures. That, like I said, wherever that, I want to say, miscommunication and misinformation comes from, showing Dan Drive going all the way down to Lakeshore.
Well, Bryce, don't you think that, in your own opinion, that what's over in the register of deeds is what's there? I mean,
Legally, yes. Well, and again,
that other GPS is just.
Yeah, and I showed them that.
Nobody has any legals on that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's what we talked about with the register of deed is if it's not, if it's not recorded, then it's not there. And they were kind of the same way. Where that came from, nobody really knows. So talking with Vicky, we talked quite a bit out there. As far as where Dan Drive ends up there, and if that road doesn't exist, or the rest of Dan Drive, she has every right to say that be closed up there. The other thing, as we've talked about, is if you do want to go through the process of, if you want to say replatting or whatever else, that Dan Drive, we'll have to figure out the drainage issue, and then that would, for the most part, take care of that situation for her driveway, because they wouldn't be driving through there. They could continue down Dan Drive. So, again, I guess leave it up to the commissioners, whatever you want to do. Like I said, it's definitely a tough situation, because she's done. We've talked about several things that she could do if it's a private drive. Does she really need to monitor who drives up and down there with cameras and whatever else? But it still comes down to enforcement. If that's a private drive, is to get somebody out there to enforce it. And I don't think she really wants that, but she's also concerned about the volume and the speed of traffic going through there.
So this also come from RS?
Yes, that's the way I understand it. And down at the bottom, I showed them that map, and they said it is for information only. But again, where that came from, they don't have anything recorded. So again, I guess leave it up to the commission as to, what you want to do, if you want to, either way you go, or some other option, whatever that is. So
We do have another landowner sitting in here that uses the road, and I'd like to hear their viewpoints too on this, just for what do you think of the situation?
Well, my deed says I have an easement from my place where my property ends, where Dan Drive ends now, what you're saying, to Lakeshore Drive. It doesn't say where, it says I have a 30-foot easement to Lakeshore Drive. It's in my deed, you can go over there and look at it. So I don't know that either.
Yeah. Huh.
And like I said, I think that's where the, if you want to say confusion or whatever it is, and you would think if it was a dedicated easement or whatever else, it would say, well, like you said, it says just easement to Lakeshore Drive.
Yes. It's not specific. It
Yes.
says a 30-foot easement to Lakeshore Drive.
Even this thing doesn't have her driveway being any part of the easement.
Correct. Yeah, her driveway is a private drive that has just been turned into a, yeah, that's what I gave them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then it would wind up in the person's driveway across the ditch.
Well, the driveway that they're using
If it went by that.
up around their building would essentially be the Dan Drive continuation.
Yeah, there is they've used a little, you can see it right there, a little path
Yep.
to get back to their back
Yep.
acreage or whatever it is, right across from
And
you.
their barns, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, as far as trying to make that road straight through there, hydraulically speaking, I don't know what I could do for a culvert. So to really make it better, I almost need to make an S curve in there to shorten the pipe or put it in at a better angle. So now that compounds the issue if it's not a straight, well, I say it's compounded. If they have to make a little swerve, that's one thing as compared to going straight. It would slow them down, you would hope. But
Or cause more problems.
Exactly, you know.
Up in his place.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I don't know what the answer is because if it's not recorded over there, then by law, and again, you know, if he has something that says an easement, where that,
It doesn't say where, it just
well,
says on
and I
there.
guess the question is, where did that information come from? I mean, it's when you bought the property or transferred the property or whatever else. It was in there. So,
Vicki,
Yes.
you see that red line's there on the left-hand side of your property there? What-
Here?
No, no.
Oh.
Going up towards Dan Drive, going up towards,
Yeah.
going up the hill.
Uh-huh.
If there was a road there, would that satisfy you if we completely get you, and that road may not even be possible because it's gonna take some money to do it.
Right,
But,
right.
but whatever I'm saying, would you allow that if there's not an easement there for us to acquire an easement on that, something like that?
Over, uh-huh,
Okay.
yes. I just, you know,
That way
I'm not
it's-
trying to make it
No,
hard
I
for
know.
anybody else, for sure my neighbors.
Right,
It's just the public using my private driveway.
right,
yeah.
right.
Another thing that's interesting is if nothing has recorded over there for this being easement, how did they survey her property, which shows basically that easement coming down to Lake Shore?
These red lines, you mean?
Yes.
That's all done by digital stuff.
No, but I'm saying she has it staked out there. It is physically staked by a surveyor.
Oh, for a 30-foot easement?
Well, whatever it is, I mean, because your state survey's stake, I should have taken a picture of it, shows not going clear up to that building. Isn't that right, Vicki? I mean, it's not what I'm saying is this point right
Yeah, it's
here.
like here.
You have that point staked.
Right.
But
There.
what I'm saying is, if this doesn't exist, that point should have probably come in the middle. He would get half of this, and you would get half of this.
Yeah, and revert back to the
Yes.
landowners on each side.
Yes. But again, I mean, based on what you're seeing, that right-of-way point is on the north side of that driveway, correct?
Well, yeah.
Northwest, yes.
Right, right.
So, however they surveyed that, where did that information come from?
Well, if Dan Drive doesn't exist, those people down, I don't know if they're even in the room, to the south there on Lake Shore Drive, is that a separate address back behind there?
No,
Or
it's
is that
it's
part of
their
their
property.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if that
Basically-
was a separate address,
No.
then they would lose their access.
Yeah. No.
Close.
Yeah.
Their
They,
property's
the,
back.
they would have theirs, she would have hers to her driveway, and then there would be no access legally up until the end of Dan Drive.
Yeah, and that's where we are now, and
Yeah.
that's what's happened to her.
Yeah.
Ken, which way you go out when you go out? You go-
Usually toward town, go
You go
toward,
back-
toward,
go back
up toward
north.
upland usually.
Yeah.
So if we shut that, build a fence across there, you wouldn't bother you.
Well, I wouldn't like it, but I sure wouldn't object to it. I don't wanna see those kids run over either.
I mean, that's kind of where we're at now, is just, she needs to fence off her property.
And the way that explained to me over here is when we put in Gillum Drive, or when it was platted for Gillum Drive, Gillum come around and they had to provide access to, that's for your property and the one across the road. So that's where Dan Drive starts going east-southeast, and then Dan Drive into there so they could still have access to the two properties on either side.
It ends where the fire hydrant is
Yes.
essentially.
Yes. So I mean, honestly, as far as the information where they come from, I don't know where to go. Like I said, everything based on the Register of Deeds says it's stopping, but you know, they've got surveys that say otherwise. Where did that information come from? I don't know if this is a Brad thing to where he's gonna have to research a whole bunch of stuff or tell us the case law or whatever else for these issues.
I just want what would you want? So we're either in the ballpark or we're not in the ballpark.
What to work towards.
Yeah. I mean, if there was a road going through where it shows that there should be a road, does that make everybody happy, or is it just close it all together? Is it,
That would at least allow my neighbors to come that way, if there was a road that way. And other people if they need to take that shortcut.
Yeah. The problem that she says she's facing is not only the number, but the speed of the vehicle. The mail carrier's even using it.
right?
You know,
Well, you look
So-
at Google Maps, it shows it going through.
yeah. When you said you had semis going through there also.
Oh,
Did-
yeah,
yeah.
tractor trailers.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, it again, yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but.
You don't want to control
Can't
the
you ask
speed
about
bumps.
fire and police?
We put those in a
I
long
know.
time ago.
I know.
Yeah, and they just drive around on the grass to get around them.
I'd see that we have a road, Dan Drive does come from Airport Road and comes down, and fire protection can come down. If the fire's in between, right at Ken's house, it might be a little tough to get past there. The hydrants is on the other side there, but it is, as long as it wasn't right on the road, you could probably get past there for fire protection. For either house, either his house or
Yates.
David Yates'
Yates.
house, either one. But if it's right there and on the road, it's gonna be a little tough to get your fire truck there and get, you know, you'd have, so that's one thing on that side. But I hear Vicki say that she would accept a road over there on the west side, that where the red lines are.
Yeah.
I think we need to determine, if we go out and look at it, and see what we want to spend to do that, and give her property back to where she has her, what's the existing road today, has that back, and she can fence that off or barricade it to where it wouldn't be accessible to her property. That's just my opinion.
Well, she could still gate it too.
But she could gate it to whatever she wanted to do with it then. And
gate it now. There's
If
nothing stopping her.
if there was
Yeah.
another road, you know, and a sign, people knew and got used to which direction they had to go, I wouldn't have to gate it.
no, I'm just, but there's gonna be some clowns.
Yeah.
Always cut across your property,
true.
and that's
Because
just,
they've done it for years.
that's all I've seen since 1987, so I was, started in 87.
Yeah.
Riding that road quite a bit,
Yeah.
so. That's all I've seen, is everybody uses it, and she wants them off of there, I think she has that right.
It saves you 30 seconds.
Other than closing
Is
it,
it?
other than
Yeah.
closing it though, you're
You
still
better-
gonna have
you better
whipping through
get to
there.
work earlier.
It's
Unless
about-
she does
about a minute
something
difference
to
between
barricade the
them.
road, that if
Yeah.
we was to build a road, she'd almost have to fence that off to where they
Yeah.
couldn't go through her property and get on the road.
That isn't gonna slow them down,
No.
might speed them up.
No, it's-
Well, we,
You're gonna be making U-turns in front of her garage to get out.
that would ultimately take care of itself after a while. One thing that we could do, if you wanted to go build Dan or finish Dan Drive, is we could go along there. We could cut some ditches on the north side of the road, you know, so it would be a little bit more of a obvious break. We could also put up some delineators, stuff like that. If the people know that, hey, it's pretty obvious we don't want us to go there, that's going to reduce most of that. Again, I'm not going to say it's reduced most of it, but if they can see a clear road going straight, you know, that's probably what they're going to take.
Yeah.
But it's been 30 plus years that they've been doing this, and you know, so.
If there was a road built, Bryce, from what you see now, would we be dumping any more water on her property?
No. The natural drainage is all towards Lakeshore Drive anyway, and the water comes down that creek, whatever else, through there. So I mean, that is already part of her the land up to that drainage is part of her property the way it is. So we just have to put some kind of a drainage structure to.
Does the board want to view it altogether?
I went out there after I heard about it. I went out there after the meeting, went and checked it, looked at it, seen how, it naturally leads you off into her driveway, and that's because everybody does it, I suppose.
Huh?
Can the county afford to build a road to service two people?
Yeah, you're not servicing two people, you're
We can't
servicing the whole lake.
engage.
Unless you shut it down, then you shut it down, you'll find out that the people will go around the other way. They'll go around to Kingfisher and get on. That's the only way they're gonna get through there then.
You know, says it doesn't save you any miles of time,
No.
and just, you got Yates, can't, you know, people live there.
Well, Davis is right at the top of the hill. Dean, or not Dean.
How often do they come down that way?
Who's that, Dave?
Your neighbors, how often do they go by your house? They live out the lake.
Well, just a couple of them do, you know, once or twice a day. Ken goes down and gets his mail. Brings his trash down once a week.
So we may have to go out to the,
So is Dan Drive a designated county road?
Down to, in that property, it shows the yellow line coming down and going across the road. That, according to the plat, is where Dan Drive ends. Now, again, with the rest of the surveying stuff continuing on, no good.
can you build an unmaintained road? And if we put a path in?
It's still gonna get used, and then you're gonna, if you don't
It's gonna wash.
do something, it's gonna wash, people are gonna
Yeah.
use it, we're gonna have wrecks, you know, then they're gonna be four-wheeling out there.
Well, I'm just trying to decide whether we can even build a road. We can close it.
Well,
We can close the county portion of it.
well, not the county portion. I mean, the county portion coming from off of the airport road,
Right.
down Gillum and turning to Dan Drive, that's been platted to that point.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yes.
You could close it there, though.
At the end of that,
Right.
yes. And that's what we're talking about, if that's the case. But then you're looking at, again, where it came from, it shows a 33-foot easement there. If that easement is not there, then they now gain 16 and a half feet on either side of their properties.
Is there utilities running through there?
I don't know where the water line goes, but I don't know of any other utilities running down there.
Water line runs through there.
It goes down the road.
It goes on the south. I call it south. My sense of direction here is never right.
It's kind of messed up out there, yeah.
It's across the road from Vicky's house. That's
Okay.
where the water line runs.
Okay,
So yes, there is.
so, but I mean, you know, that's something that can be worked through also.
Sharon's online and
No, Tina
Tina's online, but-
made a comment that there's also a statutory process for laying out a road. I believe it includes a hearing process.
Well, I think it just has to come down to commission whether we wanna look at it, weigh it out, or forget it and put a barricade up.
Well, that was my question.
Yeah.
Can we even build on there?
That's-
Or would we be setting precedent because we don't build roads
Right.
on the rest of the
We don't have
roads?
a
out
60-foot, minimum of 50 or 60-foot right of way. So you can't build a county road to.
That's what I mean. If we build something out there, I think we set precedent and everybody else that's on the back courts are gonna say,
Yep.
you did that, you're
Yep.
gonna do all the others.
That's true too.
And I never thought about that. 33 feet doesn't give us much to work with, but they're using basically a single lane road now, you know,
Mhm.
so. And I don't know where there would be any other information that would talk about this. Again, legally, if it's not recorded over there, then I say it doesn't exist.
It's her yard, so she can do what she wants.
Gated.
Yeah.
Well, you said though that the surveyor found the pins, right?
Well, I don't know if they found the pins or did they set pins.
Doesn't really
Oh,
matter.
you know.
She can still gate it. Even if we built a road through there, she's still gated. It's her property. She can
Right.
do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
It's private
But I-
property.
If
Yeah.
it goes clear to the west, that's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
Bryce is talking about, maybe it don't go clear to the west either.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I go by what's with the Register of Deeds showing this road ending and then the rest of that, and so, like I said, I really don't know where to go other than what you guys decide. If you,
Is there any other thing that you would request that we could do for you to help you right now?
Well, it seems like there's only two options, and I realize that, you know, the cost to the county, and if I would gate it, there would be no cost, really. It would just be, you know, somebody's labor doing that.
And you got a man sitting over here that says he's got an easement down through there, so how did that get there? That's, I mean, we need to see that, we need to see the plot, see, take a look at it, see what it does say, see where the pins fall.
Yeah, but even if we closed it, being he has an easement, he would still be able to get to it.
Yeah, there's two different issues.
Yeah.
Two different issues. The
Is
easement
it just the
is-
utility easement or the water line?
Yeah, the easement is between the county and him, and her personal property is her personal property, so. There's no way an easement is allowed going through somebody else's property that if it's not dictated that it is.
should have been
'cause
on
I've
their,
got one.
it should be on their easement too.
Yeah.
It should be on their deed.
Right.
Well, and here's,
Both deeds.
yeah, here's Vanduska's deed, which does say, contain together with a 30-foot easement running along the east side of the above described track, continuing on south to Lakeshore Drive, a public highway. But yet, this is what the deed says, but the plat doesn't. So, what's the legal precedence? Was this not recorded?
Welcome to Marion County Lake.
I got,
Well, I just,
well, I got
There's a lot of those
That's
kind of
number one
issues.
problem.
Yes.
I got a piece of ground that has
34 years.
a guy that owns a piece in the middle of the section,
And he's got an easement.
and he's
across
got a
there.
right-of-way easement through me.
Yes.
So,
Are more explained in today's world than the last 30 years or 40 years, what this might have been done back. What date was on that?
1st of March 1994. Now, something else I just thought about was get a hold of Brosmer to see if he would have any more information as to what this is. Again, just throwing this out there, they've been around for a long, long time, both him and his dad.
They surveyed it many years ago.
Yep,
My most recent survey is from them.
it is, okay.
And the
So,
previous survey was too.
okay, and so I could just go to them and say, okay, where'd you guys get your information? So,
Have them go back 50, 60 years.
well, I don't know. It's, you know, they staked it, they staked off a hard data somewhere, but,
So my house that I live in now was built in 1980.
okay.
And I'm not sure who had owned it before, but it was built in 1980, and that's probably when, you know, when this piece was, I've got 2 acres, where this piece was cut out of something and sold, and that would have been probably the original deed on it back in 1980, and that's probably where they started. You know, you've got your place here isolated, but you've got a right of way to drive down to Lakeshore Drive.
It's interesting because this is the one, and then here's another one dated the February 15th of 2001. So, I don't know. I mean, that's what I could talk to Roseburn and see what they staked and more information, but other than that, I don't really know what to say.
Well, it looks to me like your easiest way out for now would be to put a gate over there, or a gate, block it off by the fire hydrant, so you can still get access to the fire hydrant. And that would be a temporary solution.
I would come down a lot further than
Well,
that.
but somewhere in
Yeah,
that area, up
yeah.
at the top end of Dan Drive, where Dan Drive actually ends,
Yeah.
somewhere in that area.
No,
Because
no.
there'll be people coming down from off of Gillum, and they won't have any place to go, they'll be turning around somewhere.
Yeah, in your driveways and stuff like, or, you know,
Yeah.
up there.
Till they get it.
Create a new problem.
Well, and again, you know, we've talked about
Put it
signs.
in the paper.
You put in a sign that said private drive, well, again, people don't pay attention to signs if they know they can get through there. We face that all the time in
No, they've
highways.
ignored my signs.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is, you know, and if we say, hey, road closed in X feet, it don't matter. They're gonna go find out just how far that is. Hey, it is closed, so they're gonna turn around and drive back.
Hey, Bryce?
Yeah.
You think you could get information in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
Well, yeah, not a problem.
And we table this, put it back on the calendar.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that we could do is, if you're talking temporary, where that fire hydrant is, we could go out and put some type 3 barricades. Now, if they really want to get through, they're going to go out and move them.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Or drive through my front yard.
well, and the one
I don't
thing that
want
is
that.
good about where the fire hydrant is, the end of the property is, it's a natural break because there's there trees and stuff on the north side, and there's kind of a little ditch on the south side. So if she comes farther south or east or whatever else to put a gate there, now without fencing the rest of it, they're just going to drive around the gate on private property.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so.
They will,
I mean,
because they've done that.
You're going to have to make it very, very obvious that, hey, you're not getting through here.
If you do that, I'd go down, unless she didn't want it, I'd go down there and do something down there where they come right in front of her driveway and then they veer off to the side there. I'd do something there to help.
Well, but what? That's
Well,
the only other than gating her front driveway is the only way she's going to solve that.
You
Is that
put
really fair
barricades up
to?
down there too? I mean, you can.
Well, but again, if I put the barricades down there,
She got lots of room to
There's
drive
a-
around.
Right by the
Well-
gas meter, there's an electric pole that you can fence off to that pole and go over to the line.
yeah.
And-
But what I'm saying is, if right now if you want to gate off Lakeshore Drive, that's 100% hers because that's her access. Every time she get in out of there, she'd have to open the gate.
Well,
That would stop the
I
traffic going
understand
through
that,
there.
but you can do some extra besides stopping it up there where his house is. You can help down below too. I mean, I think we can help.
Well, again,
Hey, Bryce and Randy, could we table this to the first meeting in February and have more information and everybody have a chance to go out and look at it?
well,
Because we could talk all day.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
And I'll
all
follow
we
up
need to
with
do
Debbie
is
as
shut the
well.
damn road off
Yeah.
and go on. But we can't do that.
Well, I don't want to do anything against the commission.
You can wear Dan drive-ins. You can shut it.
Yeah, I know, but that's not what,
And there used to be a street sign there that said Dan Drive, and that was my drive, and they had it going up my driveway, and then it disappeared sometime. So somebody's got it on the wall somewhere.
That's right, one Labor Day weekend it disappeared
Yeah,
several years
yeah, it
ago.
did.
Be looking for a guy named Dan.
Dan?
probably
Yeah.
back to Kansas City or
Yep,
Wichita.
yep.
So I'd make a motion that we
Dan's
table
garage.
this to the first meeting in February.
Second.
Took the calendar down, so I can't tell you.
Down here.
And then we'll have time to get some easements and stuff in.
Be the 31st.
Can you check with Brosner on
Yep,
that?
I
That
will.
would be.
Or do you wanna
that'd
go
be
to-
helpful.
That would be wonderful.
Because you're having 2 meetings on the 31st.
Yeah.
So it'd actually be 3 weeks if you want to go to February.
Now,
It's either 7th,
First Monday in February.
7th.
February 7th?
Thank you, Vicki, for coming in.
Well, thank you for your time, everyone.
And then we'll probably get some suggestions from the public now.
I'm sure.
I'm sure.
We don't have to listen to it.
I'm sure.
I'll have to listen to
Yeah. Next time you come in with one that's a little easier.
This is all you found to do now? You've retired?
them. Yeah, create problems.
Don't let them tar and feather you.
Huh?
Don't let them tar and feather you.
Well, I'll try not to.
All in
Yeah.
favor?
It's my neighbors that I'm concerned with.
Ken, are you in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good. To be continued.
That's a good way to put it.
Well, if it was simple, it'd been done a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
30-foot easement on the east side of her lot to go up in there.
So next on the agenda is the tax sale.
RFP.
Proposal.
On Friday, we did have an attorney ask if they could submit a late proposal. Are you guys in favor for that?
Looked like
or-
somebody was building a road down.
I don't
Like
know
they was
that.
building that up down there. down right below there.
Until this
Somebody was
packet,
building
we
that
didn't
up.
really have that.
If you look at it
Yeah, we
now,
did
it's
have
kind
it all
of.
public. That's not really fair. I mean,
Well, this
Yeah.
is west of there.
Because we-
Concrete's on
I'd
Earth.
recommend that we have
This
enough
was like where they got the road, they're leveling it.
look at it.
If it hadn't been distributed publicly, I would have a different opinion, but since it,
no?
since it was
Okay.
publicly put out,
Okay.
everybody put their cards on the table.
Saying that, I didn't know if you
It's not fair.
like seen that, just no.
No.
We give him plenty of time. And are we gonna have anybody come in and talk to us about any of them?
Well, we, on the table, should have got, some Q and As from, they asked other counties what they think about the ones that they have.
And some of them are just getting started with it.
I don't know, Bryce, is that- be right back to the other side. Picked up all.
So where we at on it?
So some of them don't, didn't actually get an answer.
You know, some of it went to the wrong, you know, somebody else took care of that.
Yep.
Are there any firms that you guys wish to interview?
I know the Wichita one, I think we had mentioned, we probably want to interview.
Saw one.
One of them, the county council does it.
Yeah.
Down Robinson, no other county councilor has.
Yeah.
Brad was looking to some of them, and ask questions.
Yeah, so as far as it goes, looking for answers, there's only 2 of them that are actually third parties.
I have 2 comments here. One's from Commissioner Mueller. He would like the Clinda Osterman, which I believe is that Wichita
Yeah.
one.
That's one we talked about earlier.
And Kelly Law.
And then Kelly Law.
Well,
And then Tina, if the board has had the opportunity to review the proposals in more detail since last week, you might want to determine if there are firms that you would like to interview and or rule out. We haven't fully checked with other counties yet regarding their satisfaction with current applicants. I have another comment from the South user. Are multiple channels in preview mode? You have a great deal of radio, like interference going on with radio.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
so. Background noise from the hallway.
No, we can't.
Probably.
Outside it's nice today.
They're moving. So, yeah, I would make a motion that we get Glenda Osterman and Kelly Law Office into.
I'd second that.
You might want to ask them to move.
Second about that, I see that every day on TV.
Made a motion, anybody got a
You
second?
said,
I did, I seconded
Linda,
it.
Kelly.
That insurance for the.
Both,
Kelly
Glenda
Law.
and Kelly.
Oh, that's it? Okay.
Those are the two.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
They was going down the stairs.
The motion was to interview.
Yes. Anyone both the same day or?
Depends on if they can, ask.
And who's second? I'm sorry, I was.
Randy?
What?
Who's second?
I seconded it.
Okay.
Jonah made a
Sorry,
motion, I
guys.
seconded. I would make a request from them for the same day.
Yeah.
Jonah, could you tell him just to leave?
Yeah,
I mean-
I did.
Get to be rude.
Takes up all that hallway chatter.
Had to go put my foot down.
The two come as soon as possible,
Okay.
as soon as the schedule will allow it.
And I just told him to leave. I gotta go get him back.
You're up, Bryce. Come on in.
I was waiting.
All right. Afraid I've run you off.
Oh, no, no, no.
We're way ahead. We're gonna move the agenda up.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I guess we're in, of course.
Got rid of, or I should say, that was a Dan Drive, that was one of the things. I would like to go out and get a crack seal contract going. I would like to seal some of our newer pavements on Pawnee, going from 56 up to 210th, Old Mill going all the way from 56 up to 230th, going across the reservoir. They like to keep that done. And then basically hit 330th all the way from Tampa over to McPherson County line. Even the project that we did over there on the west of K-15 is showing some cracks. I like to try to get ahead of them as soon as possible. So all things considered, with the amount that I measured, even considering 20% overage, overestimating what, the other reason to do that is KDOT has actually led a project on from the McPherson County line over to K-15 for crack seal there. So that gives me one more contractor to quote on this, plus the two that usually they do work around here. So we'd be able to go this through. Based on what I measured, using, like I said, overestimated on KDOT values, mobile traffic control, and everything else, I'm looking probably less than 55,000. I think the advantage of that is tremendous, especially on the 330th all the way across, to try to keep the water out of those bases as much as possible. So if you guys don't have any problem with that, I was gonna get that together, get out to bids now.
And you have the right to refuse all, if they all come in at 80,000.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah,
you have the
yeah,
right
yeah,
to
yeah.
refuse.
Like I said, I don't see that because, and actually it's tough to put it in your head, but now's the best time of year to crack seal. Because the cracks are as wide as they're gonna be. You know, other than moisture, that's the only other bad side I have it, but that's why KDOT's gone to all wintertime crack seals as well, so. But anyway, like I said, we'll get all that together. Now the question is, do you, being a smaller contract, do you want the bid bonds and performance bonds and everything else? If you want to, we'll just have to specify. Shouldn't cost a lot, but.
So we just need to stick with it.
Okay.
Were you budgeting for that?
I did not there,
No,
but I mean,
there'll
that,
be an extra 1 to 3%.
yeah, it won't.
I
be
mean,
much.
for the crack seal project, where you take that consideration
Well,
in last year's
yeah,
budget?
I can put it in the asphalt roads, so, yeah, won't be a problem. But I think it's a very good investment in our roads to try to keep them that way, so. Okay, I'll, get that back to you and let you look at it and then we'll look bids, so. The only other thing I had was, I'd like to request an executive session for some land purchase stuff. Unless you guys had anything else before we went to that point.
How long do you need?
I would say, let's go 20 minutes.
Okay, we're going to executive session.
Can't remember which one it is.
It's down there.
Property
Yeah.
acquisition.
Acquisition property.
Oh, yeah, number 6.
For primary discussion and acquisition of real estate. And the time is,
Start there. Otherwise.
I move that we recess into executive session for the primary discussion and acquisition of real estate in order to discuss pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. And the time is 2 o'clock, we'll go to 2:20
I would second that.
With who?
Oh, yeah.
with 5 commissioners in the room.
Yeah.
Bryce.
I don't think, she's,
Okay.
she needs a break, been a long day.
All right, number 6.
We have 2 o'clock to 2:20.
Second.
Give it a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thanks, Mike.
Dave gonna call in? Gonna call
Yeah.
in?
Yeah, I was gonna call him.
Okay.
I still think we need to adjust the camera because it does catch those two over there, so.
Hit that record button on that one.
This
Or close
conference
the
is
video.
no longer being recorded.
Commissioner Mueller did say.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Good job.
That'd be really small.
Gotta be site specific.
Well, I just ran out of battery, so I'm done. See you later.
You're not the Duracell ever ready?
I had to plug mine into, so I had juice. It was getting low too.
Yeah.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we're back in session now and no action was taken.
Okay. That's all I had, unless you guys had anything else.
Cool.
Okay. Yes.
That's all. I want to talk about the storage shed.
Oh.
That would be under commission.
Commission comments?
Unless that's a road and bridge
No,
project.
whatever it might be. We need some work done on the shed.
On which shed?
There's one of the barns at the fairgrounds.
No, that's not
Okay.
road and bridge.
Yeah, that wouldn't be us.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
We gotta iron some of that out too.
Mostly.
I guess Mike, you have anything? You're in the room?
Public forum.
See anything?
Where are we gonna go with no motor graders out in our area for the last 6 months?
He just left.
We'll,
I mean, have we ever looked at can we hire somebody private, what that's involved yet, or up to first base?
Posed the question a couple times with no results.
What would be required for me to take on a few miles on a part-time basis?
Hire his employee.
Contract.
Well, that'd be a subcontractor.
Yeah. You wanna go contract, that way it keeps it flexibility.
At one time I suggested whether or not they would park a spare machine out there.
Yeah, cause then everybody'd ask for one, be parked up everywhere. And it's, nah, it's not gonna work. I just heard about one south of Hillsborough that wanted us to park one there so that they could use it every once in a while to, and I'm like, no. Liability, no.
That's been an issue with our insurer, I know that.
Yes, yeah, that's the biggest problem.
You know, it'd have to be something worked out with the insurance in order to cover a contractor.
Well, one suggestion I had was even if I went on as a part-time employee, no benefits, and even if I refused to pay, as long as I was still listed as a legal operator, could it be done under that? And I don't know if anybody followed up research to that. Because I think I'm capable of running one. I just hate to wear mine out, put all the fuel in it, not really get a thank you for it most of the time. Other than I do use the roads fairly hard along with my other neighbors. And if we don't help maintain them, then it just tears up our trucks. We spend it one way, or in my case, I spend it on my trucks, or I can burn up a couple tanks of fuel. But at some point, when's enough contribution for nothing?
And your statement about you're tearing your trucks up, we have that quite often, depends on the season. If the harvest, we hear the other people in harvest, you know, tearing trucks up too, with some of the roads too. So it's, your comment is virtually everywhere in our
My
county.
worst fear about whether it's private contract or, I mean, we can add the contractor insurance, but again, we've got 2 fiber optic lines on both sides of my road on 280th. I mean, there's 2 of them buried there, so anytime we get beyond putting in, other than just cleaning the basic ditch line, I don't feel safe crossing them for that liability reason with my own machine. And, I mean, the county has that liability and coverage, I think, if it's dig safed and done properly. But a couple of the miles we've graded right up till the intersection, I asked them to dig safe it, finish the last 20 feet. It's never been done, so, which doesn't help the drainage when you get to the end of the mile. We've had a lot of flood damage the last 2 years and none of that's been addressed. It's been dry for months here the last few weeks, months.
I guess we just need to give a price, see about greater in your area.
I mean, there's 3 or 4 down as far as I know.
Well, why don't we just ask him to come back up and give us a little report, or do you want to wait till the next?
I know that.
For instance, what is going on? I mean, the rest of us don't know any more
Yeah.
either than what.
We did see a little stick them in the ground signs, you know, the hiring, that's the first I've seen of any type of advertisement for the
Yeah.
position.
And then,
I think we got one guy, did we, or 2?
yeah, we got one. Maybe 2. It's compounded because we pulled everybody off to do solid surface all summer. And then go to jump back on dirt.
Well, I'm not gonna complain or wanna run anybody under the bus. A nice morning the other morning, 2 of the blade men are driving around in a pickup. And one says, oh, my machine's in the shop, so I thought it was a good day to go look at some things. Well, anytime we turned in our machine, we had to take a spare home the same day and keep right on using it that day. So it kinda irritated me that he just didn't have to take a spare and go right back to work that same day.
We got spares.
And it's not that I should throw anybody under the bus, I gotta get along with everybody out there
Well, yeah.
as well.
But yeah, that needs addressed.
Just call him Bryce, see.
Yeah.
His truck's still here.
And our area isn't the only one.
Well, Jesse Smith still
Well,
working.
see, Jesse was pulled off for 3 months to run the distributors.
For the solid surface. Bills.
They're trying to get a hold of them.
Yeah, I think we could just bring it to his attention and
Pickens still here.
give him till next week to come back.
Busy.
Put him on the spot, and everybody thinks they can just put him on the spot. So we need to give him the benefit.
And I don't know, begin to know what the right answer is or the solution there. Like I said, some of the ditches that washed in are full of gravel that washed off the road. Here we are several months later again. A couple of loads of gravel have never been knocked down. It's been there 5-6 months. First time they come along with the snow, they're gonna take half of it, throw it in the ditch because it's just a trail in the middle of a big pile of rock. When it ain't bladed in.
It's all right. I think we'll give him a week.
And I think we have other areas with the same issues.
So, we need to talk about this
I
story.
think that we need to go into executive session.
Property acquisition?
No, it's,
Security measures.
yeah, it is security.
I know Bobby Hoffman up there at Hope took care of a couple townships for years. I don't know if anybody even ever called him and spoke with him on their agreement to see just how that's handled.
Right.
That was a suggestion I made years ago, or I
We did.
don't know if it's ever been followed.
I did ask a few things about coming over county lines, and that got shot down real fast. Nobody wanted to cross the county line at all.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Yes?
no, I figured we'd
Give you a week
Give you a
to
week.
come back and report to us, like, how many of our roads are getting graded and things like that, all over the county. Brian.
Okay.
Just, that gives you time to think about it. Give us what's happened in the last 6 months, where you're at with graders, so we know.
Okay.
Plus we have what, two new operators?
Yeah. Well, the one up north that came back, and then this one here is new. I've had other people call me wanting to run a blade, but they want an awful lot of money, and I said I can't do it. So, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And talking about that money, blade operators, truck drivers, I mean, we all know that blade operators are our forefront. We're giving lots of money to nursing right now. When do we step up to possibly look at blade operators and see where they're at? I mean, we have already, we haven't done nothing with that 2 to 3, moving them 2 to 3, so we need to get back to that a little bit and see just exactly, just take a look and see where they're at, where every one of them's at, and see what we're thinking, whether, you know, some of them's gonna be, I know we're gonna lose 1 or 2 in the next couple of years, retirement wise, probably.
But I hate to deviate from the new pay plan, because then we'd get ourselves back into the same situation we were. I'd be more receptive to talking about some premium pay or something like
Okay,
that.
Yeah, I don't have no problem with that. I'm just saying that, you know, 2 and 3s, whether you can move it up, whether the viewpoints of that, there's discussion there too, and we're still staying within a pay plan then.
Yeah,
That's
we
what
know
I'm-
we're behind the 8 ball when it comes to equipment operation.
Yeah.
Well, one suggestion was letting a few people on the right days work more than 8 hours a day, and I don't know. I thought it was a good idea. Not to speak for Steve, but I think he asked some of the employees, it was about a 60-40 wash. I mean, the ones that are farming, absolutely not. You can mandatory it,
But if that puts a few more hours in some of the helps, pay the overtime rather than comp time. There was a certain percentage that said, well, they wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Now, the worst part is how do you oversee the other time that they're out there? So it opens up another whole question, but again, how do we get more done even with, if we have qualified people, let them work more hours if they want to. And we're saving enough on the benefits on the employees that were short to pay the overtime.
There was a commissioner that him and I went and looked at putting GPS on, and that costs money, but it is available. And it does tell you what their running time is and what they don't run and stuff like that. It gives you reports, so.
I'm a big believer in it. Just it validates them too. When they say, well, you don't go out and do anything, well, you can pull it up.
Yeah.
This is where I've been. This is what I did.
About the most transparent way you can do it.
Oh, it is. At about 1:41, they know where the last, I think the time check-in was every 10 or 15, 20 minutes on those cat pellet graders that we went down to Wichita and looked. They had the places right down there in Wichita where you can sit in and watch. You can watch your own grader. I mean, not watch it, but you can see where it's on the map.
Well, if you look at the hours on the tack, the fuel they burn, and normal wear and tear, you can tell just by looking at the machine what they're doing. You don't need any of this other tracking stuff.
But if you could tell,
there's a telltale sign.
If you could print something off, somebody that don't know any better.
If you come in here and just stated what you stated a while ago, Mike, and we had a tracking record of a grader operator up there, we could prove you wrong.
Go for it.
Okay.
or it could prove you right.
Or it could prove you right. Yeah, either way.
It's
I know I'm right.
Yeah. Well, it's things to think about.
Well, it's just, I mean, even it's been mentioned once, it ain't the same as when I did it, so.
Yeah, that's about the only.
And
Security.
I'd say we had poor quality machines and had better roads.
Yeah.
It's not the equipment, it's the people sitting in the seats still are 90% of it.
How
See y'all
about
later.
What do you got, executive session, Dan?
Yes, I'd like to have executive session.
Shut this.
Yes, please. I'd like to move the recess to executive session in order to discuss matters related to security measures.
Okay.
For 10 minutes, it's at 2:35, 2:45,
With the board only?
with the board only.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Phone call, Dave.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Just shut it. It's the easiest way.
This conference will now be recorded.
Out of executive session, we're looking at, no action was taken. So, there are
Commission comments.
commission comments, and then want to make a motion.
I'd make a motion to get a bid to go for the 3 walk-in doors and get some keys made, not just a bid, just go ahead and get some keys made. New keys, new locks for those 3 walk-in doors where we're storing our emergency management equipment, towers, trailers.
For the public, we're storing our stuff at the fairgrounds. No.
It's all right.
Oh, okay.
It's, I don't know how much security wise.
And your second to that?
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
The
commission comments?
Oh, just some of the responsibilities as far as what goes on with that building. I've made notes, and I'd like to let the chairman make a directive on, or the vice chair make a directive on the responsibilities as noted.
The emergency management will take over, I mean, we'll do some of the duties.
Yeah, right.
Make that directive.
Yeah.
I will tell Randy.
And the notes were, which items?
Would change locks on the buildings.
That's emergency management.
That's right. Give keys to emergency management and the fair board.
That's emergency
Yeah.
management.
We'll fix windows to give them more security. And the north door, what does it need?
That's down the road. We will address the north door. We don't need to do anything about it
We're
now.
just doing the locks.
Just doing locks and security on the windows.
So that's
Make that a motion.
just figured it.
To direct it.
Just-
Okay.
And then is that all we have on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Haven't dropped the ball. Took square footage of this room. Measured out all the tables, desks. Started to get a layout put together for monitors, mics, speakers, desk receps, and for cable management, cleaning up. Just take some time in between here and there. So
Yeah.
to draw it out, try to get all your thoughts on a piece of paper, and I still need to review it over with Tina, make sure I'm not overlooking something.
Well, John, thank you for doing that. I mean, I just don't know whether we'll be here 20 years from now, 10 years, or 2 months from now, or whether we'll be in this room, but I suppose we will be, and so that's why I think it's good to have a plan and try covering the whole room with the cameras somehow so we can pan it or however it does it, Jonah.
Yeah, the new ones are actually have some facial recognition and recognize somebody that's talking, and then it moves to the person talking.
Wow.
Some ideas discussed was, and I'll show it all on a printout,
Okay.
so it becomes a little more. It isn't just you said this or whatever.
No.
It's on the paper.
Yeah.
Have a record.
There's other things for monitor over there, monitor over here. So when we speak, that monitor picks up with the camera. So if we're addressing the audience, and when somebody in the audience speaks, it picks up from here onto them. So everybody virtually is tied in. It's not like you're looking at them, talking to them.
I wish I could help, but I can't.
Yeah.
Because I don't know nothing about what you're doing, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Yes.
Well, I just wanted to say I wasn't just letting it lie. So
No.
that's all I got.
You got, anybody else have anything? Make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, Dave Mueller.
Huh?
This conference is now